Um, how do I change my settings? I don't know if this is. I don't know if this is working any better. Hmm. Let me see. Hello. Hmm. I don't know if this is working. I don't know if this is doing anything. Yeah, I've never used this before. Is anybody able to see me, hear me okay? I don't even know which microphone I'm using right now. I don't know how to change any of this. This seems like a very weird. B-Mass, how's it going? How's it going? Um, let's see. Is this working? Is this doing like what I'm hoping it's doing? Um, I mean, it looks like it's working. Hmm. Hey, everybody. So I'm very sorry. How's the quality? Is everything okay? Is everything looking good? Um, so just I want to get this right. You know what I mean? I don't want to just have it all sound terrible and look terrible and everything. Okay, cool. Thank you, Jack. I'm glad it's looking better. Oh, technology is not my friend today. I guess it doesn't. Oops, sorry for bumping the microphone. I'm guessing it doesn't like when you use OBS now or something because that's all I changed. I'm now using youtube.com/webcam, whatever. I don't know when they added that, but it's new. I don't know how to change any of my settings though. So if the picture sucks or uh, if it's, I don't know which microphone it's using. I hope it's not using my webcam mic, and I hope it's using this. But yeah, yeah, Jack. It's so easy to have troubles, man. It really is. It's it's no fun. But so hello everybody. I'm very sorry for so many issues. Took me about like 30 minutes. Okay, tap on my good mic. Is that the one that's I don't know how much of a delay there is now too. That's the thing. So there might be a delay. I tried changing that because I wanted it. No, it's using the webcam. Of course it is. How can you change your settings? How YouTube? Certainly, there's there's a way to like. Man, I don't know. I don't know how to change that. Um, Here, let me try this, and then. Eh? Hello. Oh God, I think that might be too loud. Here, is it using the good one now? I don't know. I don't know how to tell. Let me try and change my levels a bit though, because that's going to be intense. Hello. I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't know what I'm doing. This is why I don't stream professionally. Well, okay. I mean, that's something. That's something. Why is it? Well, okay. I'm not gonna worry about it then. I'm not gonna worry about it. If it sounds like shit, then it sounds like shit. Um, okay, so just gonna try and say hi to everybody here. B-Mass, how's it going? Soren, Home Wanderer, Jack, how you doing? Roberto, thank you for sticking around. Um, Elite Sparrow, thank you for coming back. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know why this was like the biggest nightmare ever. I've done this a few times before with no issues, so of course it had to hit me eventually, I guess. What is my opinion on Sigur Rós? I really enjoy them, not as much as I used to. They were actually like my favorite band of all time for a considerable time. I still enjoy them. I haven't listened to their latest albums. The last one I heard was I don't remember. I don't know how to pronounce it. The one with all the naked people running on the cover, which is a really great album. It's very pleasant to listen to. They always have great music videos. That's something I can say for sure for them. Um, okay, so just trying to see um, if everything's still working. Yeah, I really don't know if there's a way to change my settings on this or anything like that. So we'll see. But I'm just gonna give it a second, you know, and we'll casually chat. And then I do have some like update things that I wanted to talk about, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And then the plan. Ooh, where the hell did my chat just go? Okay, there it is. Um, the plan is to kind of like cut it up a little bit, cut out like the technical difficulties, and then I'll probably have it on my channel for a little bit before I like unlist it or delete it, and then I might put it up on my second channel, which I never advertise because there's really nothing there. But just in case you don't catch the whole thing or want to watch it again for some reason, I don't know why you would want to do that, but maybe you will. And at any rate, okay, cool. 21 people back, so I think we have all of our original players, and hopefully more people will join now that it's not like crapping out on me completely. Um, Elite Sparrow wants to know what my favorite movie score is. If we're talking like original score, because I think my favorite use of music in a movie probably has to be 2001: A Space Odyssey. But if we're talking about like an original score, then without question, Lord of the Rings, and that's like not far behind 2001, anyways. It may even be above it. It depends on my mood. Um, but I think what Howard Shore did with the Lord of the Rings trilogy is just incredible, like beyond what almost any other film composer has ever achieved. Um, Jack wants to know if I'm a big sports fan. I'm actually not at all, but I do enjoy some sports movies. Of all the ones that I've seen, I mean, I've seen like Field of Dreams, Remember the Titans, I've seen all the classics. My favorite sports movie has to be Moneyball. I thought that movie was terrific. And I don't think you have to be a big sports fan to get into that movie. I think that it's pretty incredible, even if you're very ignorant of sports, like I am. I think Bennett Miller is a really interesting filmmaker, and Brad Pitt's always great. Jonah Hill's always great. Phil Hoffman. I mean, come on, how can you compete with that? Um, Hello from America. Not as exciting as Sweden. America's just what it is. But hello, nevertheless, Mina. Which one of my videos am I most proud of? Again, it kind of depends on my mood, and it depends on like the angle. I think that my best script was the Eternal Sunshine video. I think my most well edited video is the 2001 video that I made that few people have seen. I think I probably was a little too late to the party. Everyone was already kind of discussing that movie for its 50th anniversary, and I was a little late to the conversation there. So I think that negatively affected it. But I really like the design work that I did on that one, and I like the editing a lot for that one. Um, and then you didn't ask, but I will tell you the video I'm the least proud of is my Naughty Dog video, just in case you guys are wondering which video it's not that I hate it. Or well, actually, who am I kidding? My least favorite is the box office failure video. I kind of like disown that video, but I could talk more about that if you guys want to know. But that would probably open up a whole rant that I don't know if I'm. I don't know if you guys want to hear, but you know, there it is. Which movies released this decade so far do you think will become classics? Trying to think. So starting from like 2010, oh man, a lot. I think there have been a ton of really great movies. Right off the top of my head, like The Revenant, I think is incredible. I thought that Blade Runner 2049 was so good. Boyhood, I think will definitely be considered a classic. Um, did The Master come out this decade? Yes, it did, and definitely The Master. I think that actually might be Paul Thomas Anderson's best movie. It's not my personal favorite. I'd have to go with There Will Be Blood, but I think The Master is a masterpiece. Uh, I don't know. What else? It's so hard. Like I get so dyslexic with dates, so I'm really trying to think of other. The Wolf of Wall Street is incredible. Yeah, there are a lot though. There have been a lot of really good things. The Social Network, I think, was that 2008? No, that was like 2010. I'm terrible with remembering when movies came out. Sorry, I'm trying to like. I don't want to miss any. Okay. Mr. Papapolo, big fan. Thank you for saying so. I appreciate that. CC Sienna, what are your thoughts on mid 90s? I'm excited, cautiously, like, so I don't know if it's going to be my type of movie. I never really got into the whole skateboarding scene. And I mean, I was born in 1991, so like mid 90s, I was still this little wee lad. I still consider myself a 90s kid, even though I guess I'm probably not to some people's definition of what where that is called. But I love Jonah Hill, so I will see it because I think it's interesting whenever an actor makes that transition to directing, and some pull it off really well, and some don't. But I'm interested to see it for sure. Neon Indian, I haven't heard too much of his music, but I first discovered him because he did a collaboration with Miniature Tigers. Um, they worked on a song together, and then he had a song in Grand Theft Auto 5 that was on my favorite station. I don't remember the name of the station, but I used to play a lot of Grand Theft Auto 5, and it was like the chill kind of like indie pop kind of stuff. And Change of Coast, I think is the name of the song, or that's like the the line in the chorus. That's really it's a great song. It's a great chill beat. Um, Hello from Norway. Awesome, Christian. Hello from, again, boring old USA, but hello. Out of curiosity, how long do you spend on a video? It depends, but usually uh, for the last like 6 videos, ever since I've been doing them twice a month, I've been roughly like 60, 70 hours a video. Sometimes more, sometimes less. Like the Lord of the Rings video was actually pretty quick for me because a lot of that I already knew. And then it was just about like, sorry, I don't know. I don't know why I still have this here. This isn't even the mic that I'm using, but whatever. We're just gonna go with it. um, but yeah, I guess it depends. It depends on how much research I have to do, and it depends on how fancy I get with the editing. Like the Kingdom of Heaven video took over 200 hours. The Superbad video took like 60. So it depends on the video, but always a lot. Oh no, I'm like falling behind here. Okay, Home Wanderer, what do you think of James Gray? I haven't seen much of his work. I wanted to see The Lost City of Z, I believe was his film. That was supposed to be really good. I don't think I've seen any of his movies though, actually. So I'll have to get back to you on that one. Michael wants to know, have you seen Blood and Wine? I have not. Um, Roberto, I think Magnolia is underrated. I agree with you. I think it could be cut a little bit. I hate to be that guy that's like nitpicking Paul Thomas Anderson. Like I know better than him, but that's my personal opinion. But I love the movie nevertheless. Although of what I have seen, it is probably my least favorite, but not because it's bad, just because his other movies are like, in my opinion, I think he's probably my favorite working filmmaker right now. Um, Obscure reference. What did you think of Phantom Thread? I haven't seen it yet. I usually don't go to the theaters too often because I'm poor, and so I'm waiting until hopefully Netflix or HBO Go picks it up because I really want to see it. He's, like I just said, like my favorite working filmmaker, and I wanted to see it really bad, especially because it's Johnny Greenwood again, and like Radiohead's my favorite band of all time. Johnny Greenwood is quickly becoming one of my favorite film composers of all time, so I know I have to see it. Roberto, opinion on A24. What's your favorite movie by them? I think they're awesome. I love what they're doing. I haven't seen like everything that they've been doing, but overall, I really, really enjoy what they're, like what they're kind of doing for cinema. It feels like they're giving a lot of interesting original films a chance, and I really respect that about them. Off the top of my head, I really can't think specifically. I get mixed up a lot, but like, if you could give me like, a short list, I could definitely pick from one of those. Um, Mina says, I really want to get into making video essays of my own, but I'm terrified to talk on camera and worried about putting myself out there. Do you have any advice? Uh, I'm probably like the worst person to ask about this. I hate the sound of my own voice, and it's one of the things that I hate about doing video essays is just constantly having to listen to my own dumb voice over and over and over and over to cut the videos together. I hate it, and the fear never goes away. And trust me, like people give me shit all the time for the way I talk. People say I'm trying to copy Nerdwriter, which I'm not. I don't know how copying anyone on YouTube is a successful strategy. So like, but it never really gets easier. You just kind of have to decide what's more important, right? Like what other people think or what you want to do. And I want to make video essays, and even though I don't like my own voice, and even though people criticize me for my voice all the time, I would still rather make videos and just deal with the criticism, because you're going to get it no matter what you do, no matter what kind of content you put out on the internet. Someone's going to make fun of it. I mean, the fact is, so the next video I'm working on is for The Thing by John Carpenter. People hated that movie when it came out. People for making it, they thought it was disgusting and pointless, and and it took like 20 years for people to start to say, oh, that was actually pretty good. And then people started to think, oh, it was actually really good. And so you just kind of, my advice is to, you're never going to not have the fear, but every creator has it. So there's like, misery loves company, or I don't know, like at least you're not alone in that feeling, and then you just push through it, and it gets easier until your audience grows, and then it kind of gets harder again in a way. And I think other bigger YouTube, not that I'm like big, but you know what I mean, like once you kind of hit a certain point, you do start to get more of the outsiders, and you'll get attacked even more. But then your fans grow too, and as long as you can kind of learn to listen to the fans more than the haters, I guess. I don't know. I think that's what makes it like doable. Um, hey Adam, just dropped by to show my support. Keep killing it. Thanks, man. For those of you who don't know, Entertain the Elk, a fellow video essayist who is amazing at what he does. And if you guys don't watch his channel, you definitely should. We just collaborated on our last videos. If you haven't seen that, Boogie Nights and Goodfellas. Really proud of how they turned out, and it was a lot of fun working together. It's the first time I've ever done a collaboration, and I would definitely like to do more collabs with Adam in the future. Jake, what would you say is your favorite TV show? I got into your videos. Oh, from the Sunny video. Awesome. And thank you for saying so. Well, Sunny is definitely an all-time favorite. Others that like quickly come to mind, Game of Thrones, quickly come to mind as I start drawing a blank. Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, True Detective. It was the first season I really loved. I really love The Office, the American version anyways. I haven't seen the British version. I'm a big fan of Friends, How I Met Your Mother, up until like the last couple of seasons. Rick and Morty, Dexter for the first like 5 seasons, I think is really good. Yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Mr. Papa Polo, probably a stupid one. What age are you? Not a stupid question. I just turned 27, a little less than a month ago. Excuse me. Elite Sparrow, yeah, it was a great song. I love his use of thin. Yeah, it's very chill. Christian, have you ever seen Bloodfather with Mel Gibson? It's only 87 minutes long, but I want more, so I'm gonna order a copy of the book. I have not. I've seen quite a few Mel Gibson films, but not that one. Jack, are you watching Who is America? No, I saw one clip though that had me intrigued. He was trolling Bernie Sanders, which I was like, come on, man, no need to kick the dude when he's down. He got smoked in the competition, so like, let's not troll poor old Bernie. He doesn't deserve it. But I'm interested because I guess he doesn't just like attack one group or another, and I'm always interested in that, like the Sacha Baron Cohen kind of vibe. So I would definitely be interested in checking out more. Matthew, what were your thoughts on Ready Player One? Again, I didn't see it. I just saw Mission Impossible Fallout, which was great, by the way. If you guys were wondering what my opinion on that was, it was awesome. Great action movie. Like he's on some like Chris Nolan level blockbuster directing. He was incredible. But before that, I want to say the last thing I saw in theaters was like uh, Blade Runner. Like I don't go to the movies very much. I'm trying to be very frugal, which will come into like as we talk about the updates later. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Um, Ali, movie everyone likes but you hate. Platoon. That's like my go-to. I hate that movie. I don't like Oliver Stone in general from what I've seen. I like the performances. I think it has like good cinematography. It's edited well enough, but mm, and everyone seems to love it. So that's definitely one that comes to mind. Michael Jacob, Blood and Wine has one of Jack Nicholson's. Okay, okay. Well, I love Jack Nicholson and Michael Caine. All right. I mean, I'm sold. Like, those are two of my favorite actors. So, Roberto, Phantom Thread is so great. My second favorite movie from 2017, and I think it's at least as good as There Will Be Blood. Interesting. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it compared to There Will Be Blood, just because like the subject matter of There Will Be Blood really speaks to me, like California in the early, century, and like the competition between two very like ambitious dudes. I love that. Derek wants to know what are some movies you love that no one ever talks about that you would recommend. It's funny. I still haven't seen Human Nature. I was actually just thinking about that the other night, but I feel really bad for Charlie because of that. Like, he poured a lot of love into that movie, and no one's seen it, and I'm included in that. Um, for me, the movies that no one ever talks about that I would recommend: Kingdom of Heaven, the director's cut. I've made 2 videos on it now because it's legitimately one of the best movies I've ever seen. Personally, it's not for everybody, but I would highly recommend you at least give it a chance. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but it's worth giving it a shot, right? Um, I think Kung Fu Hustle is a really underrated film. I mean, like anyone who's seen it gives it a good score, but it doesn't seem like a lot of people have seen it. So that's one that I would definitely point to. Fear and Loathing, I just made a video on as well because I feel like that's a really underrated movie. Again, similar thing, like most of the people who've seen it praise it, but it just hasn't been seen by a ton of people. And then a lot of people just like write it off because it's about drugs, and it's like, I mean, yes, it is, but it's more than that. Roberto, less intense though. Oh, okay, yeah. I can imagine. I mean, one's about a dressmaker, one's about an oil tycoon. I mean, I can imagine it's not like the same intensity. Um, Hi, Mustafa. All right, Risa. In my opinion, you are way better than Nerdwriter. Comes across as thank you. I used to love Nerdwriter's videos, and I'm not gonna like ever say anything bad against the dude because it's a business that he's running, and sometimes the quality is gonna dip to maintain his consistency. I know personally I haven't been watching his videos regularly in about a year. Uh, I think he's great. I try to do my own thing though, and I definitely see the comparison. I'd be lying if I said he didn't influence me at all. But I appreciate you saying so because some people, like I had one comment that was like, "You should be ashamed. You're ripping off Nerdwriter. You should hang up your channel right now." And I was like, "Oh my god, is it that? Is it that bad? Am I like copying him? I don't feel them copying him. It's like I don't know. I don't know. What can you do? What can you do?" And you are very welcome. I hope that helped. I don't know. It was kind of a long-winded answer. I don't know if it was what you were looking for, but I hope it helped. Sensu Sensei. I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry, but hello. I've been okay. Stressed, very stressed, overwhelmed. But again, we'll kind of get to that. Probably, I'm watching the timer. How about this? I'll say it like right at like the 30-minute mark, and then if there are other questions I haven't gotten to, I will come back around. But right around the 30-minute mark, I will start getting to like the big boy talk. The main reason why I started this live stream today. Nothing like crazy, nothing, but just to let you guys know what's going on if you care about that sort of thing. Um, Roberto, I have Letterboxd. I do, but I never use it. I went on there for like a day, and it's a lot like to try and get that set up and to keep active on there, and I just don't have the time. Um, and yes, yeah, Jack and me have been buddies for a long time. we've been making videos like kind of alongside each other for a while now. Jack's really great. If you haven't seen his channel, you should definitely check it out. Jack's movie reviews, that is. I should probably specify. Obscure reference. Favorite Coen Brothers comedy. Big Lebowski. I mean, come on. It's got to be Big Lebowski, right? I mean, I definitely need to see the Hudsucker Proxy. My buddy Luis made a video about that, and I'd never known what it was about, but he made me like really, 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 really want to see that movie. Also, Serious Man is great too. Elite Sparrow, is there any animated movies that you thought were great? Oh, a ton. I've only seen a few Studio Ghibli films. Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle. Both of those were phenomenal. I love basically everything that Pixar does. Try not to freak out, by the way. My chat just disappeared, and I hope it's coming back. Okay, it came back. Technical issues all day, man, all day. Other animated movies. The Thief and the Cobbler. That's a great movie. If you guys have never seen that. Yeah, I mean, pretty much like Disney, Pixar, all the standard stuff. I haven't seen too much outside of that. Like, I haven't seen a lot of like Japanese animation, for example. But I do love good animation. Jack wants to know my thoughts on Inherent Vice. I actually, you know what? I don't know, really, to be honest with you. I read the book twice before watching the movie, so I think I had like a weird anticipation before going into it, because I had my own imagery and my own idea of how he was going to approach it. I had pictured different people in the roles. Like there, once upon a time, he was set to cast Robert Downey Jr. in the role as Doc Sportello, and so I had pictured him in the role. And then I was thrilled when it was Joaquin. I love Joaquin; he's one of my favorite actors. But it was just different than what I expected, and I haven't seen it since. So it's hard to solidify my opinion on it, just because it was so different than what I was expecting going into it. But I did really enjoy it. I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I really can't complain about it. But it definitely seems like it's a forgotten gem of his, just like Heart Eight, which I haven't seen. But I've seen all of his other movies besides Heart Eight and Phantom Thread. But yeah, I need to see it again. I'm definitely interested to see how my opinion will change or not on a second viewing. Derek, Kingdom of Heaven. I've been looking for the director. Dude, I'm glad. I'm glad that you're taking my recommendation. That's the reason I made that video twice. Because I really want more people to see that movie. I think it's just like the best thing that no one has ever seen. Um, Jake, who do you believe is the greatest actor actress of all time and the greatest actor actress of the current moment? My two favorite films feature DiCaprio, so for me it's him. It's not a bad choice. He's definitely like up there for me. I think the greatest actor of all time, and this is in my limited experience. I haven't seen every movie. I haven't seen every like great performance, but Philip Seymour Hoffman would be my pick for the greatest actor of all time, and the greatest actor currently working. I'm gonna have to go with Joaquin Phoenix. Jeez, excuse me. Um, I'm so professional, aren't I? Okay. Uh, did you read the Johnny Depp Rolling Stones article? I did not. Was this about like his abusive? I've seen some of that controversial stuff, not a lot, and I don't know the full story, but I've heard that he's kind of losing himself a little bit. Mr. Papapolo, what's your favorite Star Wars, and why is it Rogue One? Someone hasn't seen my True Detective video, actually, because I did not like Rogue One. Visually, I think Rogue One was great. I think it was lacking in just about everything else. My favorite Star Wars movie is Empire Strikes Back. I'm old-fashioned. And then I will say it for those wondering, I loved The Last Jedi. I am definitely in that camp. My ranking would probably be like Empire, New Hope, Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, Last Jedi, Attack of the Clones, Force Awakens, Phantom Menace, Rogue One. And I haven't seen Solo yet. But Home Wanderer, have you seen Annihilation? Okay, that's one I saw. I almost Jesus. That's between Blade Runner and Mission Impossible. I did see Annihilation in theaters and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was Really, really, really interesting. I haven't seen Ex Machina yet, which is pathetic, and I know I need to fix that. But Alex Garland is shaping up to be a really interesting filmmaker. Um, Nicholas, everyone feels that everyone's copying. See, I feel that way too, and I feel like I'm not the only one who gets those comments. But what can you do? It's just because he's the most popular one doing it. Every Frame of Painting was, but he's been gone for a while now. So I feel like everyone who's doing video essays kind of gets compared to Nerdwriter unfairly, if you ask me. It's like saying every gaming channel is like PewDiePie. Like they're not. They're similar. It's the same format, but they're not the same. Roberto, have you seen You Were Never Really Here? It's a great film, and I think Joaquin gave one of his. I wanted to see that really bad. That was one I was really sad to miss in theaters. Because again, I want to say it's Johnny Greenwood again, and I mean he's worked with Lynn Ramsey before, so that would make sense. I think it's him, and it basically looked like a better version of Taken. So, and I liked Taken, which I thought was a really fun movie. So I really wanted to see that. Um, Yeah, I know. There's a reason for that though. PTA knows how to pick his actors. Mr. Obscure reference. He knows his stuff. But yeah, oh, I know. It's it's definitely not a coincidence. I mean, like, there's a reason The Master is one of my favorite films of all time because I think it just has probably the greatest performances, like, of a face-off type. Like, it's not an ensemble piece, like, but like the two leads, like, oh my god, they're so brilliant in that movie. LBD Productions. My favorite film is Stalker. I haven't seen it. I actually haven't seen anything by Tarkovsky yet. Stalker and Solaris are like um, way up there as films that I need to see. Everything I've seen of footage and like screenshots, they look amazing. I don't really have a good reason for why I haven't gotten onto them yet. I just haven't. I mean, I have a list of like 10 million movies that I need to get to. And by the way, I just noticed the 32-minute mark. Okay, so here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna leave. You guys can like continue to chat. I will get back to them if you have other questions for me. I'll probably be on for like another hour or so. So like, no worries, no pressure or anything. But this portion, I definitely wanted to kind of talk about a few things. And so like, if you're just joining the live stream or wondering what this is all about, basically, I just have a few updates that I wanted to get through, and then we can go back to the hangout and whatever else. But so, without further ado, basically, I'm going to be moving in roughly 1 month. It depends. Like we're still in the process of looking for a place. And for any of you who have like done that before, you can't like say for sure down to the day because it depends on if we get rejected for a lease application or what have you. But I've been living with my parents for a little while just to gain some like financial stability and to focus on YouTube, which I really wouldn't have been able to do as much if I had been like trying to live on my own. And then also the other thing is I'm trying to move to a city. Right now, I currently live in a very small town in the middle of nowhere that no one's ever heard of. Even people who live like 20 miles away have never heard of the town that I live in. It's like population like 4,000, cornfields everywhere, to give you the image. Which might be why my internet sucks right now. So sorry for that. But I've been trying to get to a city for a long time. And the reason I'm going to Chicago is because that's the closest one to me. I live just like an hour and a half away from Chicago. That's where my brother lives, and that's actually who I'm going to be living with, and his good friend, my good friend, that he's been living with for the last year or so. Um, I basically I'm moving for a lot of different reasons. One, because I think it's better for my career. I think like just any opportunity to make connections with anyone in a professional capacity is really helpful, and I don't have those opportunities around here because there's no entertainment industry where I live. It's very much just farming town or like uh, public service kind of stuff, like customer service kind of stuff, and you're not going to really meet many writers or directors or what have you. And so Chicago is great for that. It's also just a city that I have a lot of love for. I've been in and around Chicago my whole life. And I think it's a great city. And I also just don't want to like live in a small town forever. Nothing against the small town life if that's what your life is about. If you enjoy that. I don't personally. I've done it my whole life, so I'm ready for a change. And then it's just, yeah, it's time to like move on. But the reason that I'm updating you guys on this is because it's probably going to affect the upload cycle that I've been on for the last few months. Because more than likely, unless things dramatically change within the next 30 days or so, I'm going to have to get like a regular day job again. The plan is I'm going to be doing like coffee shop stuff, which is what I used to do before like going full time with YouTube, because I like it and it pays okay, and you know it's easy enough to like have a flexible schedule, which is going to be really helpful for me in case I need to like drop hours dramatically or pick them up dramatically depending on what's happening. And then you know we'll see what happens from there. I don't plan on like walking away from YouTube or anything like that, but I likely will have to slow down just because the money's not quite there. Even with sponsorships, even with whatever, like it's just not quite there. And I don't know when that's going to change. I hope soon. But the reason I wanted to let you guys know is because just on the chance that like it kind of starts to drop to like one a month again, which I hope doesn't happen. I'm going to do everything I can to try and maintain a 2 week cycle, like 2 videos a month at the least. Maybe if they're like off by a few days or whatever, but 2 videos a month is the hope. Um, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that ends up going. Um, but more than likely it's going to slow down a little bit because I'm probably going to be working like 30, 35 hours a week, maybe up to full 40, just to pay the bills and survive and get on health insurance again, which would be great. Yeah, I took the risk. I took the plunge to do the YouTube thing while I had the opportunity to, because I felt like why not? It's not going terribly, and few people have that opportunity to even like take that risk. So I felt like I should just go for it and see what happens. And it's done well, and I'm like grateful to have seen the channel grow the way that it has. But it's just purely like an economic thing. I mean, I can't eat likes or comments or Twitter shares or whatever, and so I have to do what I have to do to get by, and hopefully that doesn't affect things too much. But I wanted to make that known for people who are going to be looking forward to 2 videos a month. If that doesn't end up happening, I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew what was going on. And like I don't necessarily have like a number in mind of what I need to make it work full time, but it's certainly just like not really there yet, which is fine. It happens. It's a risky career choice doing YouTube, and so the hope is to get far enough where like I can get by on like part-time hours and then can just kind of juggle both. But we'll see. It all depends on how my videos perform, on how the sponsorships perform, to see like if I continue to get sponsorships regularly, if they continue to pay more, and then we'll see. And but it's going to be an interesting next few months as I kind of try to balance everything out, and I'll try to keep you guys posted as much as possible. If this is something you're interested in, I will definitely try and do more live streams like this in the future, just to kind of update everybody on what's going on. But yeah, I guess that's really it. I mean, of course, like I hate to like even put this out there, but if you do want to support me, I hate asking for money. Like if that's not clear about me, I don't know. But if you do want to, you always do have the option of supporting me either by like, signing up from whenever I have a sponsorship. That always helps me out. Or more directly, like PayPal or Patreon are great solutions to help me out if that's what you want to do. Because eventually I do want to make this like full time where I can just actually consistently do this every 2 weeks, have a new video. And the ideal situation is where I can have more control to take risks and to try new things, which I don't necessarily feel comfortable doing just yet because like the last time I took a risk with the channel, I made a video on Harvey Milk because he's one of my like personal heroes. I just ever since I saw Gus Van Sant's film Milk, I've just been obsessed with his story and I wanted to share it. And it funneled in with the movie, but it was more about the real person, and it failed miserably. No one watched it, and It really disappointed my sponsor. Obviously, you know, they have a certain expectation in mind. They hope that you hit it, and if you don't, it's bad news. And so I'm still like not big enough where I feel like I can just totally change up my content and people will follow. I still feel like I have to kind of pigeonhole myself to being the movie guy, and that's fine. I mean, I love movies, but in an ideal world, I'd be making enough on like Patreon and ad revenue that I could just do whatever, make music videos or shorts or talk more about video games. Like recently, been obsessed with like the Dark Souls games, and I've thought about making a video on that because I'm really passionate about it, but I don't know that anybody would watch it. So we'll see. But as the months move along, I'm going to try and keep everybody updated as to what's happening with the channel. But that's where my head is at right now. I can certainly tell for sure that like uh, whenever during that stretch, just because I mean, there's just no way. Like moving is very stressful, and even though I'm not moving like particularly far away, it's it's still going to be a process. You know, packing everything up, and like I have to go on the job hunt and you know get everything unpacked and everything situated and everything like that. But hopefully, I can get back to a consistent schedule after the fact. But I think that's pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions about that, feel free to ask. I'm pretty much an open book when it comes to these things. But other than that, I'm gonna get back to just the casual like hanging out, and see where we go from there. I'll probably stream until like the hour and a half mark or so. I don't know if you guys can see the same timer that I can, but we're currently at 41 minutes and 40 seconds. The first like 10 of which was dedicated to just me freaking out about the quality. But okay, so let's see. Where were we? All right, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm very sorry. Lais Vidjas. Terrible. I'm terrible. What's my favorite non-English film? I've mentioned it before, but probably Kung Fu Hustle. It's like watching live action Looney Tunes meets like the best Kung Fu movies. It's fantastic. Um, Neo Shazam, you're doing a good job. Came across your page because of Fight Club Matrix videos. Thank you for saying so. Requiem for a Dream, Moulin Rouge, Back to the Future, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, The Dark Knight, etc. would be cool. Possibly, like I thought about doing The Dark Knight, but I don't know if I'd have anything interesting to add that hasn't really been like discussed at length already. Back to the Future, I love. I haven't seen Moulin Rouge, and I haven't seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure in a long time. And then Requiem for a Dream, I'm on the fence about. I love Darren Aronofsky actually normally, but that's not my favorite of his. The Fountain, Black Swan, and I loved Mother. I know it got a lot of hate. I really enjoyed it. Um, yeah, I do need to see Ex Machina. I've heard it's one of the best movies of this decade. Michael Jacob, favorite novel. It's called Perfume: Story of a Murderer by Patrick Suskind. I don't know how to say it for sure, but um, they made a movie about it from Tom Tykwer. I'm just getting all the names wrong today. But he was like a co-director on Cloud Atlas, and Perfume. The movie was okay. It wasn't as good as the book, but it's a really hard book to film. But the novel is it's like my favorite book I've ever read. Um, yeah, I miss every frame of painting too, and I understand why he left. And I mean, depending on how things go in the next like year or so, like I mean, I could definitely see myself leaving it too. I hope that's not what happens, but you know, right now it's like a lot of work for a little reward, and I think that that's what every YouTuber goes through. But we'll see. We'll see what the future has in store, right? Whatever did happen, every frame of painting. Yeah, I think he works for Criterion now. I believe. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, he hung up the channel. He got tired of doing it. It wasn't really paying him enough, and then again, he didn't like do sponsorships, which I obviously have no problem taking. So yeah, and he had a partner too. I do this all by myself, so I don't have to revenue split like that. Um, your thoughts on David Fincher directing World War Z Part 2? Confused but interested. I haven't seen the first one, but I love David Fincher, and I can't imagine he would take this on if it was just going to be like a terrible movie. So I'll stick around. I'll check it out. I'll see what it's all about. Mad Max, moving from parents' house, brought up in and struggle before. I think Chicago's a good move. Thank you. Yeah, I think so too. Out there and all that, but I love Chicago. And I'm excited about it. Obscure reference. What music do you enjoy listening to? I enjoy listening to a lot of different stuff, but as far as like favorite bands, um, Radiohead, Fleet Foxes, Grizzly Bear, um, Flying Lotus, Andrew Bird. Um, yeah, those are some of my favorites. Neo Shazam, Chicago reminds me of Road to Perdition, Blues Brothers, and yeah. Chicago's been used in a lot of movies. The Dark Knight was filmed in Chicago. I remember like everyone was freaking out about it. They're like, "Oh my god, the new Batman is filming around here. You guys should go see the location." And I was like, "They're pretty secretive. It's not like you can see anything, anyways." And they even actually, fun fact about that, that I learned recently, they modeled the Gotham license plates in that movie to look a lot like the Illinois license plates. Like the standard is like this blue Lincoln face in the middle, like Abraham Lincoln, and they did that so when they had just random cars that weren't prop cars or like production cars or whatever, just like random actual people's cars, that they would kind of blend in and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I thought that was a cool, interesting fact. Um, Coin Op TV, good luck with things. Tricky Biz Train. Thank you. I appreciate it. And yeah, it definitely is. 3 years in, and it's still not like a good full-time job by any stretch of the imagination. But I love doing it so much that it's like I can't walk away from it yet, you know? So what can you do? Jack, that's awesome. Congratulations. Thank you. I love Chicago and hope you find the success you deserve. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. I hope you too. I know we've kind of both been in a similar boat. Like we've both been doing it for a long time, doing it well and consistently. At least I like to think so for both of us. And yeah, it's a tough business, man. It is a tough business. Um, Roberto Acero, favorite musical, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Either that or Tim Burton's Sweeney Todd. I like the weird dark musicals. Scotia's Channel, Christopher Nolan's best film other than The Dark Knight or any of the trilogy. I'd have to go with Memento. It's second or third film he's ever made. I think it's actually his second. It's really good. I love it. I think it has a brilliant script. Orange. What happened? Okay, there we go. What did I think of the Uncharted fan film? I thought it was okay. I mean, it's a fan film. I want to see the real deal. And I have to be honest, I don't think Nathan Fillion is good for Nathan Drake. Just because they kind of look similar. I don't think he has the right humor. I don't think he has the right personality at all. And I'm of the mind that it's like I'd rather him fit the character than the look. You know, like just because they have like a similar face or similar hair, I don't think that's the most important thing to casting a character. But that's my personal opinion. Um, Mad Max, when you have no money and less time, you see more directors use raw examples or symbolisms to convey the message. Yeah. I think there's a real value to limitation that a lot of directors these days take for granted when they get these like $100 million movies, and it's interesting to see what directors pull off with a smaller budget. Um, yeah, I think everyone. I don't think anyone pieces that movie together on the first viewing. It took me like 3 or 4 times to get the hang of it. Tanner, hey man, it's good to see you. Seen anything recently in theaters? I just yesterday went to see Mission Impossible Fallout, and it was awesome. I have seen all of them a few times, but recently I just rewatched Mission Impossible 3, and then I watched Ghost Protocol, and I had never seen Rogue Nation before, so I just watched that to make sure I was like all caught up. And there's always going to be like that soft spot for me with the first one. It's very nostalgic for me. I grew up loving that movie and like acting it out and pretending I was Ethan Hunt and all that stuff. But I thought that Mission Impossible Fallout was amazing. It was really fun. I saw it in IMAX, not like proper IMAX because like I said, I live in the middle of nowhere. We don't have like a real IMAX theater, but it's better than like the standard theater screen for picture and sound quality. So I really enjoyed it though. I would highly recommend it if you guys are looking for a fun action movie for sure. 333 Enron. Love this channel. Been a Patreon for a few months now. What's your name on Patreon? I don't recognize your YouTube name. Did you see the movie Unbreakable? And if you did you like it? And are you excited for Glass? I love Unbreakable, and I loved Split. I might even prefer Split to Unbreakable. I'm nervous about Glass because it looks like he's kind of trying to make his own MCU, and like I want him to do something different. I want him to like have, because Unbreakable and Split don't feel like superhero movies to me. They feel like one feels like a really interesting, compelling character drama, and one feels like a great like claustrophobic thriller. And so I don't want him to just lose that uniqueness, and I hope he doesn't. But I'm excited nevertheless because I love the cast and I love the idea. So I'm definitely interested to see it. Where's my check? Most of it I don't care for at all. Not that I've seen all of it. I should stress that. Um, I don't know. I might get. I don't know. The last one I watched was Galaxy. I didn't really care for Thor or Captain America, or I don't know. I haven't even seen Infinity War yet, to be honest with you. So I'm just not big on the new superhero trend, to be honest with you. Kate's Coffee, good luck with all future endeavors. Always looking forward to see what comes next. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I'm still going to be uploading videos, that's for sure. They might be a little bit slower. I hope not. I hope I can maintain. I mean, obviously, like it's much better for my channel if I could upload twice a month. Seen anything by Matt Reeves? I'm gonna have to. I don't want to get mixed up, so I'm just gonna double check which one he is. Is that bad? Is that bad that I don't know right off the top of my head? I'm pretty sure I know who he is, but I just have to be like extra sure. Okay. So he did the new Planet of the Apes movies and Cloverfield. Okay. I liked Cloverfield. I didn't love it, and I'm actually not huge on the Planet of the Apes movies. I haven't seen War of the Planet of the Apes, but I really liked the first one, and then I didn't like the second one that much. I just went in with too high of expectations. Everyone was saying it was like The Dark Knight, and I watched it, and I was like, this is not The Dark Knight. So that kind of sucks in a way because that one is definitely like the best for spectacle and for action. But you should watch the other ones if you liked it. They're still fun, but yeah, oh my god, it was so much fun. It was a blast, like nonstop thrill ride. Best action movie I've seen since Mad Max Fury Road. Roberto, do I have any guilty pleasures? A lot. I spend too much time on Reddit. I'll be perfectly honest about that, and yeah, sometimes I'll just scroll for hours and hours and hours, and it's not healthy. I wouldn't recommend it. Um, by the way, greetings from Lithuania. Hope I'm not the only one. Oh, thank you. I don't know. I don't check too much the that watch me because it's a cool thing. I used to back when I was like 50 subs. If I had anyone from not the United States, I was like, look at that, someone. It was very exciting. It was very exciting because it's like, how did they even finding this stuff? I don't know, but yeah, that's really cool, man. Greetings from the United States, Illinois specifically. Michael Jacob, what do you think of Jordan Peterson? I don't know like everything that he said or anything like that. So there may be things, and I don't want to get in trouble. There may be things he says that I don't agree with, but everything I've seen, I really respect the man. I think that his message of like self-sufficiency is really important. Depression or anxiety or procrastination, I think he like hits the nail right on the head. And I like his advocating for people to to be self-sufficient, right? To not just settle for whatever in life and to be miserable and unhappy. Opinion on Call Me by Your Name. I know. I haven't seen that one yet either. Basically, when these kinds of movies get on Netflix or HBO, I am all over it. I will be watching them as soon as I can. But when they're in theaters, I can only usually afford to go see like a few movies a year. So like next up, I really want to see Eighth Grade because I love Bo Burnham and I've been following him for like 10 years. But other than that, yeah, I don't know. I don't go to the theaters too often. I saw Mission Impossible because my parents wanted to see it and they're big fans of the series. So it was like a family outing thing as opposed to me just going. But yeah, I don't go out to the theaters as much as I'd like to. Um, man, yeah, you guys making me feel bad. There's so many things that fall behind it. I haven't seen Atlanta yet either. Beto. It looks really good though. Donald Glover is one of my favorite creative minds in the world right now, so I wanted to check that out for sure. And Hank Thomas, thoughts on Mel Gibson? They're mixed. I think he's talented, but kind of an ass, and I think his career is spotty at best. But he's done some cool things. There's no denying that. Spyro B or Spyrob, I don't know which one it is. I'm gonna go with Spyrob because that seems probably what it is. Did I play Red Dead Redemption? And if so, am I excited for Red Dead Redemption 2? I absolutely am. Red Dead Redemption was one of my favorite games on the last generation. Rockstar is just incredible. I play everything that they put out if I get a chance. And yeah, Red Dead Redemption was incredible. I think it may have even been better than like Grand Theft Auto 5, which is saying something because that game's amazing. And so I keep hearing like what they're doing with like Radiant AI and everything like that for the new one. It's just groundbreaking. So I'm really, 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 really excited to see what they do with it. Um, Home Wanderer stream's not working. Try refreshing. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It doesn't have like any information to give me whatsoever. I see just my face and how many people are watching, and then like a big end stream button, and that's like really all I can see. I don't know how the connection is. I don't know how it's looking. Sorry. Um, uh, the real, the real threat, that thief. I just watched your Indiana Jones video and it was great. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I was happy with that video. It was a very like off the cuff, easy kind of just opinion piece, but I love those movies, man, and I wanted to make that video for a while. Opinions on Sushin Stevens. I have not heard too much, but what I've heard I like. I guess I should probably check out more then. Matthew, have you played Bioshock Infinite? Yes, it's actually one of my favorite games of all time. The first Bioshock as well. And I really hope Ken Levine comes back because he's a really, really interesting mind for video games, and he makes games like no one else does. So, excuse me. So I would love to see him come back. But yeah, Bioshock Infinite was incredible. Ben, there is a new wave of people doing film analysis online thanks to YouTube. Are we missing out on a new generation of filmmakers because their emphasis is on analysis and instead of uh, going out and crafting new films? Maybe. I hope not. I can't imagine though, and I can't speak for everyone, but I know quite a few creators in this video essay space who are hoping that this is kind of a launch pad to making movies. I personally feel that way. The thing is, I don't have a good camera. This is my webcam, and this is like about it. I have an old Samsung Galaxy S6, which shoots in like 10p resolution, and it's just awful quality. Uh, so I have my reasons. Like I don't know actors too. I don't have like the money or the time to really set aside. But the hope is to eventually build this up enough that I can start making some money and invest in the camera, some lenses, and people to work with. It's another reason I'm excited about going to Chicago, so I can have some people to work with and places to shoot and everything like that. But I know personally, I hope to use this as a way of getting to making movies somewhere or the other, and I hope other people have that in mind as well. Because I would hate that if, like, as much as I love the video essay thing, like, I would much rather people be making their own films, and that's what I hope to do someday. Um, oh, Michael, my internet messed up. What did he say about Jordan? Basically, that I'm not familiar with everything he says, but I respect what I have heard about like depression, anxiety, being independent and self-sufficient, and I think he's got a really great mind for these things. He knows what he's talking about, and I know there's controversy, so I don't want to like just say that I agree with everything because I don't know. I haven't seen every lecture he's done, whatever, but he's a really bright guy, and I think he's got a lot of smart things to say that could help a lot of people like me personally, who have those kind of battles with depression and things like that. So, and I say if he has the power to help you through that kind of stuff, then great. Risa, are you fond of Lars von Trier's work? I've only seen bits and pieces of his movies, never in full, but he is definitely someone I'm interested in seeing more of. He's a very like compelling director, whether or not it's your kind of stuff. He makes very interesting films. Roberto, you should check out. Yeah, so that's where I've heard most of his stuff was from Illinois because people find out I'm from Illinois and they're like, "Oh, have you heard sound? There's a song about John Wayne Gacy and like all this other Illinois culture stuff." And so I checked out a few of the songs and I liked it, and I definitely like that concept a lot. And it's hitting home. I've lived in Illinois basically my whole life, so I always appreciate that because we're like a forgotten state. With exception to Chicago, it's like no one gives a fuck about Illinois whatsoever. So it's kind of cool to hear some of the other stories, I guess. Um, Tanner, how many movies do you think you watch in a year? Well, a lot. I rewatch a lot though. I guess I should specify. As far as like movies I haven't seen before, maybe 30, 40 new ones a year. And then because I usually watch like 3 movies a week is roughly what I do. Sometimes I had a few weeks there where I watched like 3 movies a day, and that was awesome. I wish I could do that all the time. Oh, I love it so much. But yeah, I try to watch a lot of new stuff, but I also love rewatching because I think if you see something just once, it doesn't really stick in your brain the way that it should. And I think it's really helpful to see something more than once, especially in like a tight span of time. Like when I just did this video on Boogie Nights and Goodfellas, I watched both of them twice within the same week. So that was a really good way of like cementing it all in my brain. Elite Sparrow, what are your thoughts on the new Halloween? I don't know yet. It's tough to say just based on the trailer, but I like David Gordon Green. Um, and I love the Halloween franchise. Even like some of the bad ones, I still think are fun. So I'm interested to see what he does with it. Yeah, we'll see. I'll say this. I'm more excited for the new Suspiria. That one really has me excited. Um, oh, okay. Yeah, I know who you are. I always struggle with pronouncing your names, but thank you for supporting me on Patreon, dude. I really appreciate that. Um, worried that Glass is going to be just a conventional hero movie, but if it's unique like the other two, for me, it's going to be. Yeah, totally, totally. That's exactly how I feel. I just don't want it to be like the other things because the other ones aren't. So I don't want it to just feel like I'm watching a Marvel movie. And if it doesn't feel that way, then it's probably going to be pretty awesome. Home Wanderer. As you haven't seen any of James Gray's films, I can recommend you Be on the Night. See, I've heard mixed things about that one, and that's probably why I haven't delved too deep into his films at all. But I know he like works with some of the greatest actors, and so I can't imagine that his films are bad because why else would Joaquin Phoenix like continue to work with him? Um, Hello again, Craig. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for joining in. Tanner, I made it a goal to track everything I have watched in 2018. So far, Hereditary has earned the most rewatches. Hereditary was awesome. I keep forgetting. I'm like forgetting so many of the things I've seen. Oh my god, but that was really good. That was really good. I guess it was kind of later and I was kind of tired, so I don't remember like everything that happened, but Hereditary was awesome. I'm loving this new like horror movie phase that we're going through that we've had for the last few years. I am very thrilled to see these like new, interesting, actually scary horror movies coming around. It's really cool. Copper, Nitrogen, Thorium. What is your favorite Paul Thomas Anderson film? My favorite is There Will Be Blood, followed very, 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 very closely by The Master. It's so hard for me to pick between the two of them. I love all his movies that I've seen, but those two definitely stand out above the rest. Hoy, Hoiy, Hoy, Hoy. I'm just gonna say it that way. I hope that doesn't bother you. Love your channel and videos. Keep up with the great content. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Elite Sparrow. Yes, the new Sparrow, right? You know who? Part of the reason I'm really excited is Tom York is doing music for that. So Johnny Greenwood's working with PTA, and Tom York is now doing movie scores of his own, and I'm very, very excited. Craig, Wisconsin Death Wish is really good. I didn't know that was a thing. Wisconsin Death Wish. I've heard of Death Wish. I didn't know Wisconsin Death Wish was a thing. Kate's Coffee. If you want to see what can be done on little equipment, watch Tangerine. It's shot on a few iPhones and is quite well done. I would love to see that. And Soderbergh has a new film. I can't remember the name of it right now. That's gonna drive me crazy. But he just made a movie shot entirely on iPhones. And so the thing is, I'd love to have an iPhone and see what I could do, but oh my god, they're like $800. I don't have that kind of money. I've had this phone for like 5 years, and it's actually basically completely broken. It powers down all the time and just freezes all the time. It is very irritating, but do what you got to do, right? Roberto, which actors, actresses do you think are very underappreciated? I would totally agree. I think Paul Dano is one of the greatest actors of his generation, without question. I think he's incredibly talented. Everything I've ever seen him in, from The Girl Next Door to 12 Years a Slave to There Will Be Blood to Looper, like he's just so good in everything I've seen him in. Who else comes to mind? I really like Ben Foster. I think he's an underappreciated actor. Um, as far as actresses, I think Scarlett Johansson is great. She's not like underrated in the sense like she's super popular. She's in everything now, but she's a really talented actress, and I think people forget that. But like if you go back and watch some of her older films, especially, she's amazing. She's amazing. Those are the two that come to mind right off the top of my head. Oh, okay. So I'll have to look that up. I like a good documentary. And Wisconsin, I live in like northern Illinois, so like I've been in and out of Wisconsin my whole life. It's like my second home state, let's say. Unsane, I think that's it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah, the Soderbergh movie that is. Michael Shannon is great. The first thing I ever saw him in was Bug, and um, I thought he did a fantastic job in that. I still needed to see Take Shelter. I think that's what it was called. He's really terrific. Little Miss Sunshine, yeah, it's another great Paul Dano performance. He's really good. I also needed to see Love and Mercy. That reminds me, he was supposed to be very good in that. Yeah, I haven't seen Quiet Place yet. I really wanted to. I really like John Krasinski. I mean, I'm a fan of The Office, so I think kind of comes with the territory. But I definitely wanted to see what he did with that movie. Nico, okay, just gonna okay. Craig, I mean, I can see how some people might think so. I think she's great. Hoy wants to know what are some of my favorite documentaries. Well, I hate to like say it. I like Michael Moore's documentaries. I know that they're not always like the most factual or whatever, but I enjoy watching them at least, and I certainly like the topics that he picks. Like I think the link for Columbine was great. I like a lot of like behind the scenes documentaries more than like political stuff though too. So like basically any making of. Geez, I really enjoy. I saw The Cove. I thought that was really good. I'm like totally blinking right now. I like docu-series a lot. Like I really enjoyed Making a Murderer on Netflix. I thought that was really fascinating. Grizzly Man was really good. Yeah, Craig, I really enjoyed that as well. Cool. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, he was great in Prisoners. He barely even has lines, but he was awesome. Absolutely awesome in it. My favorite would actually probably be Blade Runner. Like I couldn't handle how good Blade Runner was. It blew me away completely. Prisoners is probably my second pick though. Yeah. What do you think of director commentaries? I love them. I try to watch as many as I can. Not all of them are interesting. It depends on the director, obviously. But one that comes to mind, I've actually seen it probably more times than the movie, is Fight Club's commentary. It's great because it has Fincher, Brad Pitt, and Edward Norton. And then like Helena kind of like randomly cut in. You could tell she was recorded at a separate time, so it's pretty jarring when they cut to her. But it's an amazing commentary that I love. Not that it's like the most insightful as a filmmaker. There are definitely better ones for that, but as far as just being entertained, it was great. I haven't seen Incendies yet, but I need to. I need to see Incendies and Enemy for sure. Those are like the two big ones of his that I haven't seen yet. Thin Blue Line, I'm not familiar with. I do love how it's made. Kate's Coffee. That was especially like Homesick. That like most people watch like the game shows. I did a little bit of that, but how it's made was my like soothing, feel better kind of TV. I love it. It's just it's so satisfying. I don't know what it is about it, but yeah, I live for that stuff. Um, yeah, The Girl Next Door is a really underrated movie. I totally agree with you, man. I really agree with you. It's got Emil Hirsch, who's fantastic, Paul Dano, who's fantastic, and you know a lot of other people who no one knows or remembers. Timothy Olyphant's great in it. It's a great movie though. It's you know it's not like a masterpiece, but it beats the hell out of a lot of other like high school aged kind of comedies. I think from that era. I think 2549 will be as iconic as the original, but I think it might be better than the original. It's tough to say. It's impossible to say until like another 20, 30 years goes by before we know like what the general consensus will end up being. But I definitely think it will maintain a classic status in its own right. Great Gardens sounded really interesting. I definitely wanted to see that one. Favorite acting performance in a movie. It's tough to call, but like two that really immediately stand out to me are Andy Serkis in the Lord of the Rings trilogy and Joaquin Phoenix in The Master. Those performances like immediately jump out at me as amazing performances. I haven't seen Under the Skin yet. I really need to check that out though, because hey, Scarlett Johansson, she's one of my favorite actresses, and everyone was saying it's like new Kubrick, you know, which you don't see as often because it's a tough title to earn. Like new Kubrick, really. Puts a lot of pressure on a director, but I definitely still wanted to see that. Um, Rings of the Day, I haven't seen. Um, okay, Anthony Perkins in Psycho is definitely not a bad choice. Definitely not a bad choice. And Once Upon a Time in America is one I still have to see, but De Niro's unquestionably one of the greatest actors who has ever lived. Like Raging Bull, Goodfellas. I mean, my God, the guy's amazing. Are you fond of Ozu? I'm not sure what that is, to be honest with you. Sorry, I'm just gonna like get adjusted here. Thoughts on Game of Thrones season 7? I'll try to keep this spoiler free. So just for anybody who hasn't like seen it yet or doesn't want spoilers, don't worry. But my thoughts on it overall, I really liked it. It's not I think it's the worst season they've done yet, but I still enjoy it. The thing is, seasons when George was still a big part of it, and that it's noticeable, and it's a shame. But I expected that. Like as soon as they kind of caught up to where the books were at, it made a lot of sense to me, and I anticipated that they weren't going to be able to deliver in the same way. But in terms of like everything cinematic, it's gotten a million times better than it's ever been. Like they've been steadily increasing like the special effects, the production value, the cinematography, the wardrobes, everything just like consistently gets better every season. And season 7 is no exception. And so for that, I really loved season 7. I'm nervous for season 8. Just I think it's the final season and it feels like there's still more story to tell than that, but we'll see. We'll see. Um, what is my least favorite Kubrick film? Of what I've seen, I would put Barry Lyndon at the bottom, but I haven't seen it in a really long time, so I definitely need to give it another chance before like saying that for sure. And then I haven't seen Spartacus or Paths of Glory or Lolita. But he's my favorite filmmaker of all time, and 2001 is like number one, and then Eyes Wide Shut and The Shining are like not far behind. And so anything that I would say is like my least favorite, I don't think is a bad movie. It's just my least favorite of his masterpieces. Do you watch anime movies, and if so, what are your favorites? I really don't, to be honest with you. It's just not been my style. Nothing against them, but like the closest thing to anime that I've seen is some of the Studio Ghibli stuff, and Spirited Away would be my pick for that. Um, Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Copper. I am not familiar with any of his work. I haven't seen any of his stuff, to be honest, or hers. I guess I don't know. I shouldn't be gender stereotyping. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that name though, so I couldn't tell you. Where am I from? I am from U.S., specifically Illinois, like northern Illinois, uh, basically near Chicago. Like that. That is as close to like what anyone will be familiar with. Um, but yeah, like northwest, middle of nowhere, Illinois. Doctor Strangelove is underappreciated. I don't see a lot of people talking about it compared to several other movies, and I think it's one of his best. I think it's great. I think I think you're right. I really totally agree. Like when people start listing favorite Kubrick stuff, it's always 2001 or Barry Lyndon or Clockwork Orange or whatever. But yeah, I don't know why that is. I think it's probably his most comedic, and maybe that's why. Maybe people prefer like the more serious tone. Um, yeah, that is weird though. I think when it first came out, it was definitely like talked about all the time, but yeah, it doesn't seem to get as much love. Um, but so yeah, we're getting to the final like 10 minutes or so of the stream. So I want to make sure if anybody has questions or anything they want to say, I want to make sure that everybody gets their chance. I'm going to be calling it. Let's just say 3 o'clock, or well, 3 o'clock my time. So whatever time zone you're in, 15 minutes we'll say, and then I got to get some food and get back to work. Uh, but yeah, it's been fun. I'm glad that you guys stopped in. I hope you have enjoyed the stream. I'll just I'll answer pretty much anything. I have no like issue with really answering anything. And then as far as like what's gonna happen when this is done, I might edit it and then put the whole thing in full. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not entirely sure just yet. Um, Home Wanderer, favorite Spanish film, if you have one. Well, as far, I don't know Spanish, but Spanish language, The Devil's Backbone or Pan's Labyrinth, just both Guillermo del Toro films, but they're beautiful and amazing. Um, Craig, what have I done to deserve this? I have not heard of that one. Am I going to do more streams? I hope so. I hope to do more. It's tough to find the time to do them, and then obviously, like if you guys were here at the start, tons of technical troubles that I hope to fix if I am going to do another stream in the future. But I'd like to do one like every month or every 2 months or something like that. Certainly, whenever I hit bigger milestones, like I had wanted to do when I hit 50,000 subs, and it just didn't end up happening. It was just too busy. But I would like to do more streams in the future for sure. Uh, oh, thank you, Maddie. I appreciate that. Paths of Glory. Haven't seen that one. I do really want to see that though. I know that's like one of his most acclaimed films. Um, would you still consider? I mean, yeah, I'd consider any recommendations. It's just the problem is I get a lot, and I have a lot like just of my own to want to get to, and so it's just hard to like find the time, and especially if it's not on Netflix or something like that, that makes it even harder. Like something if it's on like Mubi or if it's on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon or any of those kinds of places, then I have a better chance of being able to see it. But even then, I can't make any promises. But you're always welcome to recommend it. I do like lock them away and try to get to them at some point, if that makes sense. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. I have not seen the movie 8 mm, but I've heard that's one of Nick Cage's like better films. So that was Joel Schumacher, wasn't it? I think who directed that. Must be his like best film, if that is the case. Barry Lyndon is my favorite Kubrick film, says Craig. Yeah, I need to check it out again. The last time I watched it, I didn't love it, and I know that I should. I know that I absolutely would love it, given the proper setting or context of watching it, I guess. But yeah, 2001 is easily my favorite of his. Um, will I ever have my own subreddit? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know if people are interested in that. If they are, I would happily do that. I don't know how much I would moderate it or anything like that, but if that's something that people wanted, I would definitely get that started. Maddie, how do you think the MCU should incorporate the Fox characters they just bought? Did they? Oh, that did just happen, didn't it? I guess I should probably know more about that. So that would be what, like the X-Men, and I don't know who else that would be. I don't know. I really don't know. I haven't kept up totally on the MCU, so I don't even know how they've like fully integrated what they have already. But I just what I hope that they do is continue to try and find their footing, I guess. And I know a lot of people feel that they already have. I don't. I don't feel that they've yet found the right balance of action and humor, and because I think a good blockbuster has to hit certain check boxes to be good. I think that it has to have romance, action, humor, drama, tension, horror, even a little bit, right? Like you have to be scared for the characters. There has to be that tension. There has to be the fun, and I just don't feel it when I'm watching those movies. To be honest with you, um, Roberto, has there been a film you love that you disliked on first viewing? Several of my favorites I disliked on my first viewing. Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to think of what specifically. Um, well, Kingdom of Heaven comes to mind, although that one's kind of not fair because the version I like is the director's cut, and the first time I saw it was the theatrical. Um, hmm, I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's. I know it's happened. It's definitely happened, but I'm having a really hard time thinking about. Oh, Rosemary's Baby. There we go. That's one. I didn't like it at all the first time I watched it, and I know like Polanski, he has his controversies surrounding him as a person, as he probably should. But that film is still incredible. I mean, Hitler could have made it, and it's still a good movie. Like you can't take it away from that. But I hated it the first time I watched it. I thought it was boring. It was stupid. It didn't make any sense. I didn't like it at all. And then watching it the second, third, fourth, I was like, was I crazy? Like this movie's amazing, and it is. It's one of my favorite horror movies ever made. Um, Craig says Paths of Glory is good, but not great, in my opinion. Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, I've heard that about a lot of his older films in general. Is that like they're still really great, they're well made, but he hit his stride in the '60s and '70s and past that. Um, Roberto wants to know what my favorite movies are. Uh, Quick off the top of my head: 2001, Lord of the Rings, Boyhood, Kingdom of Heaven, There Will Be Blood, The Master, Eyes Wide Shut, Social Network, Fight Club, Eternal Sunshine, The Revenant. Yeah, I mean that's a good starting list, right? Uh, get you going at least. Um, See, yeah, Kate's. I. That's how I'm feeling. And unless they just completely reboot it, which knowing them, they're probably going to. This is honestly the thing that I don't like about it. It feels cheap to me. It feels like a cash grab instead of just like actually wanting to make interesting art or entertainment. It's just like how many of these can we pump out? And how fast can we do it? And how much merchandise can we make? Let's go. And I just don't like that. I don't like that at all. But knowing them that that's what they'll do, they'll reboot the whole thing, and it's going to be a nightmare. Raw, I thought was really good. I didn't know what to expect when watching it. I think I saw on Twitter that Edgar Wright had liked it or something like that, so I checked it out because it's on Netflix, and I hadn't seen a good horror movie in a while, so I wanted to check it out, and it's very interesting. Not what I expected. I enjoyed it though. It's messed up, so if you're like faint of heart or get a weak stomach easy, go check it out because it's get pretty gross, but I really liked it. Um, yeah, that's probably what they're gonna do, Kates. I can't imagine they're gonna just try and take over all the same people. And Mirror, I'm trying to remember which one that is. That's not like Mirrors, right? Those are different movies. I have no idea, but yeah, I've heard really good things about those other two. Wrath of God, in particular, I've wanted to see for a really long time. It's hard to find though, so I haven't had a chance to see it yet. Um, was there a particular film that sparked your love for cinema minus the master? That's really cool. That's a great movie to like get you into it. For me, it's it always goes back to the same thing when I was like 5, The Wizard of Oz. Because before then I had seen just a bunch of crap on TV. That was the first time I was like, just like sucked into the screen and just couldn't stop watching. And I just like replay it over and over and rewind VHS over and over and over. And that was, yeah. And then the next step for me, because that kind of introduced me to just like movies and loving like the craft of it. But then I kind of went through like a second regenesis of love of cinema, and that was Fight Club. And I know it's kind of cliche. That's like every white dude's go-to movie, but that was what it did, for me. It challenged me and it made me think about movies in a different way, and I always appreciated it for that. Um, so okay, yeah. So Roberto, that's basically the same answer: Wizard of Oz, and then Fight Club, and then everything like in between, like Star Wars or Indiana Jones or whatever. But those were like the big significant like turning points for me. Um, I love it that you want to connect with us so personally. Thank you. Thank you for becoming a Patreon. That actually really helps. I just lost like half of my patrons just over the course of the last week. Why? I'm not sure. I don't want to ask because I feel like it's like, hey, how come you're not giving me money anymore? It's like they have the reasons and I want to leave it be. But I really appreciate that. And yeah, no, I do want to connect more. I get shy sometimes. I get busy often, and then like tech issues makes it kind of a headache to think about setting down to do these. But I would definitely like to do this more often. I really like getting to chat with you guys, and especially if I do it on a rotation, because I feel like most people probably miss out, and I know it's not the same going back and watching the video. It's a lot different when you're like actually there while it's live. So I would like to do this more often and at like different times, so people who live in different time zones, because I know a lot of my audience are overseas or just even in a different time zone in the United States. And so I'd like to do more of these and get a chance to chat with you guys. I think I'm going to go ahead and recommend Garden of Words. Yeah, I haven't heard of that, but I'll have to look it up because I have Netflix, so that makes things a lot easier. Opinion on Tree of Life. I want to see it again. I didn't love it. I think the imagery is gorgeous, incredible. I mean, Chivo or Emmanuel Lubezki, he's one of my favorite cinematographers of all time. Certainly my favorite working today. And the imagery in the Tree of Life is some of the best I've ever seen. But the plot didn't really do anything for me. The characters didn't really do anything for me. And maybe I'm watching it the wrong way because like 2001's kind of like that too, where it's not really about the characters and the plot isn't really a traditional thing. So I'll have to watch it again before I say for sure. But as it stands, after one viewing years ago, I liked it. I didn't hate it, but yeah, I had hoped for something different. Patrick Bateman, who is my favorite cinematographer, Emmanuel Lubezki, probably either him or Deakins. They're both obvious answers, but for a reason. They're amazing at what they do. Haven't seen The Master yet, but I really liked Rushmore. Rushmore is great. That's one of my favorite movies. That's probably my favorite Wes Anderson movie, which is, I know, like kind of a strange pick because it's his second movie and he's done so much amazing stuff since then. But there's something about Rushmore that just like always touches base with me. Is that the right expression? I'm not with it. While Smartle can create some amazing pieces, they're definitely a cash grab and all every time. See, and that's fine if you admit that. Like the thing that bothers me is when people are like trying to argue that they should be getting all these Oscar nominations. Like, really, come on. They shouldn't get Best Director or Best Screenplay. Like, let's leave it for the people actually trying to change the world with art, not just get that money. See, The New World I have to see still. Tree of Life's actually the only Malick film I've ever seen, believe it or not. I have The New World on Blu-ray. I just never got around to watching it. I don't know why. It's long, and I know that, and that always makes it harder. If it's like a 3.5-hour movie, it's like, do I have time for this? I don't know. Let's just watch more Office. Anyways, good luck with your move and get a PO box set up so we can send you the ultimate housewarming presents. Oh God, thank you so much. I don't know if I'll do that. Maybe someday. Maybe someday. But I don't know. Something like I've all. I don't know what it is, but I think it's just a thing in my family in general. Like taking things from people just feels almost wrong. I'm that guy that like on Christmas or on my birthday, like you shouldn't have, and I mean it. Like you shouldn't have. Like just say happy birthday and we're good. But maybe like if enough people pester me about it, then I'm sure I'll do it just to make the fans happy. But at the moment, oh man, I don't know. I feel weird taking free stuff from people, and part of me is kind of worried. Like that's such an opportunity for a very severe troll, and I don't know if I need that in my life. um, I thought the cinematography was gorgeous, but the movie was boring. Yeah, that was basically how I felt. I just felt it was like pretentious. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to. I've only seen it once, so I don't want to say too harsh of things when I might completely change my mind on a second viewing. Um, my favorite Wes Anderson movies are Royal Tenenbaum and Moonrise Kingdom. Both also amazing movies. I haven't seen a Wes Anderson movie I didn't like, and I've seen almost everything of his. Actually, I haven't seen Isle of Dogs yet. But yeah, I've seen Bottle Rocket, Rushmore, Royal Tenenbaums, Life Aquatic. I don't know what I'm missing. Darjeeling Limited, Moonrise Kingdom, Grand Budapest, Fantastic Mr. Fox. I think that's all of them, and I loved all of them. Absolutely, absolutely loved all of his movies. He's one of my favorite filmmakers. The only reason I haven't really covered him since the Rushmore videos is because I feel like everyone else already has. But what are you gonna do? All right, so I'm just gonna read up the last of these, and then I'm gonna get going, guys. But thank you so much for hanging out. Thanks so much for stopping in. I hope you had a good time. I hope you know I got to answer your questions. I hope I didn't miss any. I may have, and I deeply apologize if I did. Sometimes they scroll too fast, and my eyes just dart past. Um, do I collect Eureka Blu-rays? I don't know what those are. Is that like a form of like Criterion or something like that? Like just a fancy collector's thing? I would love to. I've had to tone it down considerably. Basically, I've invested more in video games in terms of my like entertainment fund, just because I get more bang for my buck that way. And there's always the pirate for movies. Shh, shh, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Thank you. I try to be cool. I hope that I'm really glad that you enjoyed. I'm really glad that you stopped in. I hope to do more of these in the future, and certainly try to like do it with more advance notice and better preparation next time, because this was a total disaster for the first like hour that I was trying to do this. So thank you for being patient and sticking around. I have one or two criterions I want to say. Um, yeah, I think I have Rushmore on Criterion actually, and I think I have Darjeeling. Not much else. The only Criterions I have are secondhand that I bought at like Disc Replay. I don't know if that's a thing that's everywhere, but it's basically like a secondhand video game movie type store. And so you can get like I got Rushmore for like $5 on Criterion, which is the way to go because they're normally pretty expensive. The Nihilist, dude, just found your channel. Keep it up. Don't stop. You make amazing essays. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. In case you, if you missed the update, I might be slowing down a little bit just to accommodate moving and getting a new job and everything like that. But I do not plan on stopping. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I haven't heard of Eureka before, but I always love like fancy collector editions and the sucker for that stuff, especially if it's got really cool artwork and great behind the scenes features. That's what I look for. Lahane, I haven't seen. I do need to though. I love that actor, Vincent. Yeah, that seems like an awesome movie. Um, but anyways, all right, yeah, I'm gonna get going. You guys, thank you so much for stopping in. I really appreciate it. To keep you guys busy, I mean, yeah, you can check out my last few videos if you haven't already. Hint, hint. They're always spoiler filled, so just be careful. I stopped putting the spoiler tags because I'm lazy. But if you haven't seen those movies and want to keep them unspoiled, then don't watch them. But if you're not worried about spoilers, or whatever. I would really appreciate you guys watching my last two videos in particular are not performing as well as I was hoping. I'm really happy with how they turned out, uh, and yeah, I would really appreciate it if you guys would check those out if you haven't already. And of course, be sure to head over to like Entertain the Onyx channel too. Like he didn't pay me, I didn't pay him. That was just purely like a buddy thing. Like we wanted to work together, and I really respect what he does. He respects what I do, and so if you guys aren't familiar with that, like he's a cool channel to check out too. And um, I don't know when for sure the next live stream will be. Probably not until after I move. Realistically, maybe I'll shoe in another one just to like try and update the people who missed this live stream. I actually might do that. We'll see. But either way, I'll try and be better about giving advance notice the next time I do. But anyways, thank you guys. Oh, one last question. Okay. Uh, favorite documentaries, man. Making a Murderer, Bowling for Columbine, and then any behind the scenes stuff. Okay, sorry, I don't want to miss questions. I don't want to miss questions. But anyways, all right, I'm gonna get going for real this time. Thank you guys so much for sticking around, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. It is still Sunday. Okay, we're good. I know what date it is. Don't worry. I know what's going on. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I hope you guys have like a smooth Monday transition. I know it's always rough, but all right. Thank you guys, and hope to speak with you guys again soon. All right. Bye.